Welcome back to another video, guys. We're working on a little European yew. Just a quick tidy up. If I've got chance and time this evening, I've got a juniper to work on, which we might be able to cram into the same video. But at the minute, I'm just concentrating on this because it needs a bit of a tidy up. So yeah, this is a European yew. Haven't had it that long. Beginning of the year, I think, was it last year? No, not. I haven't had it that long. I know I repotted it beginning of this year, so yeah, I've had it for 2 years. 2 years, but the first year I had it, it didn't do anything. It pushed out a little bit of new growth, and then just went brown, died off. So I knew there was something untoward, and it was the roots. It turned out it was the roots. It was a pot it was originally in, which was this one. This is the juniper. If we've got a chance, we can work on this one later. That was the pot it was in, and because of the size of it, I assumed everything was fine. It had plenty of room. The top dressing on it looked pretty good. Well, the soil looked good. Once I dig around, I realised it was just a false top dressing, which that was the issue. So I immediately, as soon as I knew that the new growth was dying off, I knew it wasn't going to survive if I'd left it. So I immediately took it out, and I noticed straight away it was the soil it was in. So the top dressing was very deceiving. You thought it was in good, decent soil, but it wasn't. It was like concrete, literally like concrete. So the roots were just being suffocated. So it's been repotted. It hasn't put a much growth on this year, because I think it's just because the roots got so badly damaged getting this soil off. It was ridiculous. What it did do is it has produced lots of little buds everywhere. So next year in the spring, it should push out new growth. So consequently, I'm not going to do a lot to this. I'm just going to tidy it up, take these back. I'm not worried about too much on the new buds on the ends. Well, I don't need them anyway. It's going to get too long and leggy, I think. Once this tree really takes on, they do go a bit crazy. So we'll just take it back. Just basically bring everything back in. And then what we'll probably do is just put a bit of wire on it, just to pull down these branches. They're all a bit up in the air at the minute. You see this one here, he's shooting up. I'll probably get rid of this one, to be honest, in a bit. Because what we've got is we've got a nice stagger. Well, we've got a stagger, whether it's nice or not. So you've got right, left, right, and then you've immediately then got another right. Now we've got one here, and we've also got one here. So this replaces the right one. So there's your stagger, and then there's your next one. So I think we'll get rid of this one. I think we'll get rid of it now. So once these trees are established, they do accelerate in growth. Quite vibrant trees. Quite interesting trees, actually. Yews. Yeah. In England, probably around the world as well, other places in Europe, we find a lot of them in graveyards, old graveyards. And no, nothing like this. This is a very straight pencil telegraph pole type trunk, which I quite like, to be fair. I do like this shape. It's not your usual bonsai shape, but I like to mix things up in my collection. And I've got a couple of straight ones, but yeah, I think if they're done right, they look really good. They do look good. So yeah, I think we'll just go in. I'll probably going to do this with the scissors. So we'll just take him out. No point ginning it. No point. Let's open it up a bit. So we'll look. What can you see, guys? It's opened it up a bit. It's a bit gappy here, but that's all I do, bringing these down. Yeah, so I'm not going to do too much. I'm just going to bring it in. I don't want to clean up too much interior off of the main branches, because I do want to encourage divisions. At the minute, each branch is just dead straight, and then lots of tertiary ones coming off. There's no actual kind of divisions. You can see on this one, it's just dead straight, and then everything kind of comes off of it, which is not ideal. It's not been pruned properly in the past. It needs to be divisions of 2, really. But that's something that we can tackle in the future, I think. The important thing was just to get this back into some kind of health. As I say, it wasn't looking good at one stage, and I'm not that familiar with yew trees as bonsais. As I say, we've got loads of them growing in the wild or in graveyards around the UK, so I'm not unfamiliar with them, but as regarding bonsaiing, I was a little bit unsure. So as soon as it started to go brown, I knew there was something untoward straight away, but I needed to really educate myself, which is what bonsai is all about. Education. So we'll just tidy up this apex, because he's getting quite dense already. We'll take that big one out. Just take out these ones going down. That one. Right, what we're going to do now is get some wire on it. I think. Get some wire on it. Now these yew trees in particular are pretty solid. So what I was going to do was use guide wires to pull them down, but because it's in a plastic training pot, I think this plastic would have just buckled and bowed under the pressure. So we'll put some fairly thick wire around. Now these 2 bottom ones aren't looking too bad at the minute. So I'm not going to worry about them. The ones I'm going to worry about are these in the middle. Just bring it in a bit closer. Can you see what I'm doing? Let's see, bring that under. Lock it in. Yeah, so for years I was told that yew trees were in graveyards to keep away unwanted spirits, and I suppose there might be some kind of truth to it, I don't know, possibly, in old folklore, but it wasn't until I started getting to know a few farmers, and they explain the real reason why they put yew trees or planted yew trees in graveyards. It was to actually keep the cows out of the graveyard. Cattle, livestock. Because these graveyards were very often open, okay, they had a wall or whatever, but cattle used to get in, graze around the gravestones, and then consequently do a lot of damage. So they put yew trees in because they're actually poisonous. They've got some weird and wonderful properties to them. I say poisonous. They can be to cattle, to livestock, but it's used in medicine as well. There's properties from the yew tree that they use within, they did use it in cancer treatment. Yeah, it's quite an old remedy. But yeah, it was to keep the cattle out. It's not the cows trampling on the graveyard, on the gravestones. Right, we got that one. Yeah, there's a good story as well. It was a novel written by a chap called Patrick Ness, and he wrote a story called A Monster Calls. It was a film as well. They did turn it into a film. Yeah, A Monster Calls, and it's a bit depressing because it involves a lady that gets cancer, but the whole initial storyline is quite emotional. It's quite emotional, but it's all about a yew tree. That's what the monster is. It's a yew tree, and yeah, it's to explain that it has its healing properties. Anyway, I won't tell you too much about it because you might want to watch it or read the book. The book's good. The book is good. Yeah, A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. Right, let's pull that down, innit? Yeah. I think I might have to pull that one down, but at the minute I'm going to leave it. I need to get some wire around them two now. It's going to be awkward. It's awkward to wire because I've got three in one spot and I didn't want to wire these two. Okay, well, we can work around that. We can work around it. To come up. He's a bit tight there, isn't he? Wire across. Yeah, I might have to link it around that one just for a minute. So these do set quite well, these yews. So the ones we get in the UK, they're very gnarly and twisty and very ancient looking. I think they're one of the oldest trees that grow in the UK, the yew tree. Yeah, it's not ideal. I wanted to double branch it on the wire, but I think this will suffice. It will suffice. Look it on the end. Also, I'm not going to leave this wire on too long because of there is a lot of tension and it will cut in quite quickly, because these do grow quite quick once they start feeling comfortable within a pot. Just bring him down a little bit. That's better. Right, this one here is going to take some. Using up all my scrappy bit of wire that I've got lying around. Come in here. So yeah, going back to what I was saying about the health of this tree when I first got it, I was unaware. So it's always worth either quizzing the person you've got it off straight away, and obviously trusting them and what they tell you, when it was repotted, what kind of substrate it's in. It's always worth it. Or if you're not familiar and you don't know, and it's a convenient time of the year to do it, get it out of the pot and have a look. As I say, if I wasn't keeping an eye on this tree, this would have been dead by now, for sure. For absolute sure. As you say, you should never assume anything. What they say about assumption. I think of that. Right, let's try and get him around there. Get him in there. Whoa. If you hear that rattling, I think it's the kitten. Little Maple, she's playing with a bit of wire. Better. Come here, you don't want to be playing with that. Yeah. Come and say hello. Come and say hello. Play with this wire, it's thicker. I'm not going to poke your eye out of it. Right, let's try and get some movement on these. This one's not so important because he's in a pretty good position. This one here, this is the one. Just give it a bit of support. Let's say end of next year I'll probably bring these branches right back into the tree, so we've got division instead of just one straight spine of a branch and everything coming off of that. It doesn't do the ramification any good. It's all too clumpy, all in one line. You want separation. Maple, right, does that look a bit better? That looks a bit better. I wouldn't mind getting...
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Really? Oh, okay. Thanks for your input, Alexa. Might actually get a bit of wire on that, just to pull down the initial beginning, if I can. Bigger bit than that. Bigger bit than that, Maples. So this will cut in super quick because there's a lot of pressure on them already. Yeah, no, I love the shape of this tree. It's very basic, very simple. Not all bonsai have to be all manipulated and twisted. Because not all trees grow in the wild like it, although ironically yews generally do. Because they've got a habit of, they put on so much growth. Because they're obviously evergreens, the branches drop, they weep, and then they touch the ground, and then they root in. So then you get lots of little sibling trees growing off the branches that touch the ground. And then by doing that over centuries, you get this weird kind of all gnarly effect, all weird shaped trees. Yeah, very pleasing to the eye, the old yews. But unusual for this kind of shape. This is more like a dawn redwood, natural shape. How a dawn redwood would grow in the wild. Or any redwood really, dead straight. Once we introduce twos, separation of twos into the branch further in, we'll have a lot more manipulation because they'll be younger, they'll be smaller, more flexible. These have just been left and left, and just got really rigid. Bit of wire on that, and then I think we're about done. As I say, this tree's just fortunate to be alive, put it that way. Just get it. Just a single one on here, won't need a lot. So there you go, a quick video on a European yew. I know we haven't really done a lot to it apart from just put some wire on it and did a bit quick pruning here and there, but it'd be good to come back to and revisit end of the summer next year. So that was the main reason. I was going to do it anyway, I was going to do the work, but main reason in videoing it. And it'd be quite cool for you guys to see it next year, see how it's developed, hopefully. But yeah, it's a good start to a not so good start. Cool, thank you very much guys, catch you on the next one.
Because you were mine.